like to acknowledge any elected officials who are with us today. If you're an elected official, if you would stand up and be recognized. Thank you. I also want to welcome Greg Petoniak, has joined us, one of our sponsors, and I want to say that Greg is with SEMCOG and Kathleen is with SEMCOG, and I know that that's confusing, but SEMCOG is the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, and SEMCOG is Southeast Michigan Community Alliance and the Workforce Development Agency in our area. So that's the difference there. We don't want people to be confused. So I'm going to introduce Andrew Linko. He is the supervisor of Brownstown Township, and he's going to introduce our speaker today.
Thank you, Sandy. Before I begin the introduction, I just want to say, as a member, our township is a member of SEMCOG, how important it is for regional development. I understand, as well as our board of trustees understands, when development occurs, and even in another area of the state, as Huron Township or in Woodhaven, that all the communities in the downriver benefit from that investment. So we also look at economic development, not what we can do for our township, but also what we can do for our downriver area, and as well as look at the global economy, because it's very important. So with that, I was very excited to be able to introduce our executive director of SEMCOG, and I'd like to begin that introduction. Kathleen Lomako has been named the executive director in 2014 for the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, and she is the 6th executive director since SEMCOG was formed in 1968, and she is the first woman to hold the position. She has played a major role in establishing SEMCOG as one of the elite councils of governments in the nation. She has been employed as I said, since 1978. She became executive director in 1998. She has a bachelor's degree in urban planning from Michigan State University and a master's degree in urban planning from Wayne State University. She attended Harvard University's program for senior executives in state and local government at the John F. Kennedy School of Government, as well as other specialized training. She is a certified association executive and holds several other planning certifications. She has also held leadership positions in a variety of local organizations, including Leadership Detroit, the Heat and Warmth Fund, Michigan chapter of the American Planning Association, Michigan Society of Planning, Inforum, the Michigan chapter of Women in Transportation, and the Michigan Society of Association Executives. Will you please give a warm chamber welcome to Kathleen Lomako.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come and talk to you today. And what I'm going to do is share a bit about the work of SEMCOG and how it relates to you in the downriver area. I also plan to highlight what we have on the horizon. And I gotta get this going. Well, let's see. Okay. So that first slide shows what I'm going to talk about. Like I said, an overview of the region, present some of our recent plans and implementation activities, and highlight what's on the horizon. The map here shows the 7-county region of Southeast Michigan, and you'll note the proximity to our neighbor Canada, as well as surrounding state of Ohio. Both have implications on our larger region. This map shows the membership of SEMCOG, and as Sandy mentioned, SEMCOG is short for the Southeast Michigan Council of Governments. We're a voluntary organization of local governments in the Detroit metro area, and we're governed by elected and appointed officials from our member governments. Here the map shows that all 7 counties are members, as well as all the communities shown in blue. And we also have intermediate school districts and community colleges as members for a total of 160 governmental units. You can see on the map that most of the communities in your chamber area are members. Further, a number of elected and appointed officials from your area serve on SEMCOG's executive committee, our principal governing body. They include David Glabe, who's the Huron Township Supervisor, Brian Peters, who's the Brownstown Township Trustee, David Angelari is the Finance Director of Southgate, Alan Anderson, who's here from Wayne County Community College, also represents community colleges on our board. In addition, some other notable figures from your area that are active in SEMCOG is former State Rep Andrew Pandravis represents Warren Evans in Wayne County on SEMCOG's board. Greg Petoniak is a past chair of SEMCOG and currently serves as a delegate at large in SEMCOG representing workforce interests. We've also had involvement from Mayor Cuspa and from Councilmember Howie, as well as I would be remiss if I didn't mention that Bob Bovis, who was here, was also an early past chair of SEMCOG. So let's start with a few facts about our complex region. We've got 7 counties, 93 cities, 24 villages, 115 townships, 49 post-secondary educational institutions are in the region. We've got 20 watersheds, 18 regional and international airports, 25,000 miles of public roads, 2,900 bridges related to that road system, and 8 international border crossings. So it's a complex region, there's lots of actors, so one of SEMCOG's principal roles is coordination. SEMCOG is responsible for regional planning and intergovernmental coordination. Our work addresses things that government can't do alone. Because we've got so many local governments, lots of issues and items cross jurisdictional boundaries. So that's the space that we work in. We work out of 3 functional departments. Data, which develops extensive economic development data and information that we use in our planning and that's used by many others in the region, including the private sector. Excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. We also have a plan development department that develops regional plans, and as important, we have a plan implementation department, and they're charged with seeing that our plan is implemented at both the regional and local levels. Our goal is to have our plans implemented, not sit on the shelf. The broad issue areas that we address are transportation, economic development, and the environment. So what does the data tell us about the economy in Southeast Michigan? Light vehicle sales set a new record of 17.8 million units in 2015. Sales for 2016 are a little slower, but at this point we anticipate that they're going to be a little lower. But that should not be hindering the growth of the region's economy, as many of the sales are in the more profitable light truck component, and that continues to increase. Driven by auto sales, Southeast Michigan's gross domestic product has grown for 5 consecutive years. Growth is stable at about 2% per year, which is much better than the situation that you can see on the chart in the early 2000s, where it wavered between growth and decline. Southeast Michigan's economy continues to add payroll jobs. It's gained back 221,000 jobs of the 480,000 jobs lost in the last decade, or roughly 40, we've regained about 46%. The region's total number of jobs is almost back to the year 2000 level. As a result, Southeast Michigan's unemployment rate is back in line with the rest of the United States in the state of Michigan. Southeast Michigan's rate, shown here in blue, declined from an annual average rate of 14.6% in 2009 to an annual average rate of 5.9% in 2015. It is currently trending at 5% for 2016, which is about the same rate as the U.S. and just above the Michigan rate of 4.8%. This chart shows total population change, the green line, and its 2 components: natural change in blue, which is births minus deaths, and net migration, shown in yellow, from 2000 to 2015. Net migration has been improving significantly. In 2008, over 59,000 more people left the region than came into the region. Compare that to last year when the number was reduced to just about 8,000. As a result, our population is stabilizing despite decline in natural growth. In fact, we've experienced a small population growth for the last 4 years. Metro Detroit's housing market continues to improve. Prices shown in red are now above their 2000 levels. On an annual basis, Detroit is growing at the same rate as the U.S., 5%. Metro Detroit's prices are growing faster than the Cleveland metro area or the Chicago metro areas, which are seeing prices increase by only 2% annually. So that's good news for all in real estate. Before I move on to how we use the data at SEMCOG, I wanted to let you know about one of our most popular items, which is on our website, which is known as interactive maps. You can see examples of the types of interactive maps shown on the screen. What that portion of our website allows you to do is zoom into any specific location in the region and select specific items and look at how it impacts your area. This is something that I encourage you all to go back and do when you get back in your offices. Our website is semcog.org. Recently, we've been doing a number of plans, and they include our traffic safety plan, our bicycle and pedestrian plan, economic development, and green infrastructure. What I plan to do is spend a few moments sharing with you what those plans call for and provide some examples of how the plans and policies are being implemented in your area. So our safety plan, it's designed to improve safety on our region's roadways and guide investment in traffic safety projects in the region. It benchmarks traffic crashes, it identifies problem areas, it also includes specific strategies that we need to pursue to address those traffic safety issues. To assist local efforts, SEMCOG analyzes and shares information on crash data. And we do this in ways that a picture is worth 1,000 words, when we can sit down and show people where the accidents are occurring in this region. It can help target activities to improve the safety. The actions that we focus on are known as the 4 E's. Those are engineering, education, enforcement, and emergency services. Also shown on this map is a picture of a team of our staff that go out and look at problem locations with our local members and try to identify plans to reduce traffic crashes. Our plan for improving bicycle and pedestrian travel includes an inventory of facilities, prioritized regional corridors, and regional strategies and actions that SEMCOG, MDOT, communities, and others can take to implement or to enhance biking and walking. One of the major priorities in implementing our biking and walking plan is to enhance connectivity and fill gaps in our regional trail system, especially those that provide access to parks, downtowns, and other locally and regionally significant destinations. The development of the Iron Belt Trail is one of these major regionally significant projects. In southern Wayne County, the Iron Belt Trail uses the Downriver Linked Greenways Initiative Plan route, as well as existing trails through the metro parks, the Lower Huron, Willow, and Oakwood. In total, the proposed Iron Belt Trail includes 8 cities and 5 townships in southern Wayne County. SEMCOG has been and will continue to work with the county and these communities to plan the facilities and the best routing options and to coordinate funding for the development of these routes. Filling regionally significant non-motorized gaps and providing technical assistance to communities looking to enhance walking and biking for their residents are priorities for the plan. The Transportation Alternatives Program is a funding program administered by SEMCOG that provides funding for these types of projects. Pictured here are 3 projects in southern Wayne County funded through the Transportation Alternatives Program. Projects such as these make those vital connections to regional greenways and trails, contribute to vibrant downtowns, and provide safety improvements that encourage and enhance the ability of residents to travel by bike and by foot. The 3 projects shown here are implementing a pedestrian pathway and lighting along Wayne Road in Romulus, providing safe access under I-94 for students to walk and bike to Romulus High School. There's a streetscape and green infrastructure enhancements along Ecorse Road in Allen Park. And there's a 14-foot wide multi-use bridge for bicycle and walkers across I-75 along West Road. So these are local examples of implementing the types of connections that our plan calls for. Moving to economic development. We have an economic development strategy that provides a framework for the public and private entities, including government, business, education, labor, and workforce agencies from across Southeast Michigan to work together to increase our region's prosperity. The focus areas of the plan, there's about 15 strategies there, but they fall into 3 categories. The blue category is known as community assets. The orange category is strategies involving talent and innovation. And the 3rd category in green is business climate. These are the series of strategies that we're trying to get people to rally around to improve our economy. And our strategy recognizes that no one person or organization is in charge of the economy, but if we work together on common strategies, we're bound to be more prosperous. One of the ways that SEMCOG's working to implement the talent portion of our economic development plan is through our STEM and skilled trades initiative. We're building awareness, interest, and appreciation for skilled trades and technical careers to meet employer needs and the needs of a changing economy. This is an example of one of the posters we created as a part of an education campaign, and we worked with career technical people within the school districts to both develop the messages and test the education campaign, because we think the schools need to be a part of sharing the potential opportunities that are in STEM and skilled trades. Another regional plan is our green infrastructure vision. Green infrastructure includes things like parks, lakes, wetlands, trees, as well as constructed green roofs, bioswales, and rain gardens. In addition to its contribution to environmental quality, green infrastructure is increasingly recognized for its contribution to placemaking and healthy communities. This is a map from the vision showing the green infrastructure opportunities within Wayne County. Things like trails, water access points, provide opportunities for green infrastructure and green streets. We're working with the county to add additional green infrastructure elements in these communities, such as introducing more trees, native planting, rain gardens, and community gardens. The plan identifies the role of various organizations in green infrastructure, including businesses, encouraging them to incorporate green infrastructure on commercial and industrial properties by planting trees, installing bioswales or rain gardens. And a major example of this is Ford's green roof at the Rouge plant. SEMCOG continues to work with communities and stakeholders in southern Wayne County to promote the area's remarkable water trails, including the Detroit River Heritage Water Trail, the Rouge River Water Trail, and the region's first designated national water trail system, the Huron River Water Trail. In addition to the great work being done to recognize and enhance the water resources in the area, the county has been a leader in designating native planting grow zones within the Rouge watershed. Using grow zones is a priority of our green infrastructure vision as they increase infiltration of rain into the soil, as well as reduce pollution, and they're more cost effective to maintain. I can't leave the topic without touching on our work with the Metropolitan Affairs Coalition, our business, labor, government regional affairs partner. Staffed by SEMCOG, MAC is co-chaired by Congresswoman Debbie Dingell, and MAC worked for a number of years on the American Heritage River Initiative. And as a part of that work, we worked with partners raising nearly $3 million to construct a world-class fishing pier and boat dock for the Michigan Sea Grant school ship at the Refuge Gateway in Trenton. Here is a rendering of the facility that is now under construction. And as the future site of the International Wildlife Refuge Visitor Center, the Refuge Gateway will welcome visitors and serve as a hub for outdoor activities like fishing, birding, kayaking, canoeing, and wildlife observation, as well as be a site for environmental education. This is another rendering of people enjoying the pier, and we expect that to be completed at the end of the year. So hopefully this is what it's going to look like next summer. The success of our work sometimes requires changes at the state and federal level. SEMCOG works on legislative priorities for the region. With recent passage of transportation funding legislation at state and federal levels, which we spend a lot of time working on, we've now turned our focus to increasing revenues for local government, funding for infrastructure, and supporting the Great Lakes and controlling invasive species. On the regulatory side, we are advocating for clean air regulations that cost effectively clean up our air without disadvantaging our economy. We're currently participating with a state group with industry from Southeast Michigan, figuring out how we meet the new air quality standards. We adopt a legislative platform. I know before the meeting I was talking to Sandy. She said you adopted one on a periodic basis. So we adopt our legislative platform similar to you, but we also spend a lot of time not only talking about it with our members, but also with our legislative representatives. We feel that we can't stop with adoption of our policies. It has to move to talking to our congressional representatives in Washington as well as at the state level. We also know that implementation of regional plans relies on people having knowledge of the actions that they can take. So we understand that we need to talk to local leaders and other decision makers. We share our work through publications like our regular newsletters. We also talk to the newspaper, radio, do TV interviews, and we put out social media posts. So if any of you are interested, I would encourage you to follow us on Facebook and Twitter, and you can hear up-to-date information about what we're doing at SEMCOG. To that end, we also communicate on specific actions that the general public can take to improve our region. Things like ride sharing, where we encourage carpooling and van pooling to both reduce congestion and air pollution. We also have an Ours to Protect water quality campaign where we promote the simple steps that individuals can take to clean up our water. Things like practicing good car care, picking up after your pets, wise use of fertilizer, and conserving water. And we are the ones that operate the Ozone Action Program. Since it's summer, I want to go into a little bit more detail on ozone action and how you all can help improve the region's air quality. Working with the state, SEMCOG calls Ozone Action Days. You probably hear about it. A number of the weathercasters promote Ozone Action Days. And Ozone Action Days are called when hot summer temperatures combine with pollution in the air to create ground level ozone. And ground level ozone is what's often referred to as smog. And the reason we're concerned about it is because breathing high levels of smog can trigger respiratory problems in children, people with lung diseases, and the elderly. And exceeding the ozone standard also make it more difficult to site and permit businesses in our region. So far this summer, we've had 5 Ozone Action Days after having none last year. And on Ozone Action Days, the kinds of actions that we're encouraging people take are delaying lawn mowing or use of other gasoline-powered equipment, We're also encouraging people to leave your car at home, take the bus, carpool, vanpool, or if you do have to drive, connect your trips and drive less. Also avoid drive-through facilities or other situations where your car is idling, and avoid refueling until after dark. Finally, if you're barbecuing, we're not saying you can't barbecue. I don't know, it's on Action Day, but what we encourage you is not to use charcoal lighter fluid, because that is one of the things that causes ozone. Since the mid-1990s, the air quality has improved in our region, in part due to actions, people taking ozone actions, like I indicated. But all that being said, the ozone standards continue to come down, continue to be ratcheted down, so we want to encourage people to take this seriously. We send our information through news releases, on social media, so I want to encourage you, if you have internal newsletters with your employers, send it out to your employees. Encourage them to be a part of cleaning up our region's air. So the last thing I was going to talk about is a little bit about what's on the horizon. We're now begun work on a water resources plan. This grew in part out of our work on our economic development plan, which identified the importance of the blue economy. This look at water is going to be much broader than our past water plans that really focused on water quality. Our new plan is going to address topics such as pollution prevention, pipelines, invasive species, resiliency, Great Lakes shipping, diversions, wastewater, and stormwater. To provide input into this work, we're soon going to be conducting a public survey on the topic. It will be available on our website and through social media, and I want to encourage you all to consider participating and let us know what your priorities are for the region's water. We continue to be involved in large regional projects in our region. One is the Gordie Howe International Bridge to Canada. Certainly that's one that a number of us have been working on for a number of years, and one that is important for our economy, both of Southeast Michigan and the state as a whole. We're also worked for a number of years in the area of public transit. And in regard to public transit, what I've shown here on this map is a map of the Regional Transit Authority's draft transit master plan. This plan is out for review and comment and is expected to be adopted sometime this month. It's anticipated that the RTA will place a $1.2 mil tax proposal on the November election ballot to fund transit in their four-county service area, which is Wayne, Oakland, Macomb, and Washtenaw. What's in that plan that's of particular significance to your area is they're planning bus rapid transit along Michigan Avenue, regional commuter rail service from Ann Arbor to Detroit, cross-county connector buses along Fort Eureka, and airport service to various locations throughout the region. We've begun work on our new long-range forecast of jobs and households. These forecasts will be through the year 2045, and when complete, we'll have data by small areas so that you'll be able to look at data for any one of your individual communities. As I mentioned earlier, we're working to coordinate parks in the region. While parks are owned by various state, county, and local governments, they need to be coordinated and work together as a system. We're also studying the issue of freight and freight movement in our region. Freight movement within our region. That new bridge is a part of that equation. And finally, we're in the early stages of developing our next transportation plan, which will be through the year 2045. In closing, I want to thank you for the opportunity to speak with you and share what SEMCOG's up to. I want you to know that your area is an important part of our region and that you're well represented in SEMCOG by the officials from your area. So with that, I would be happy to answer any questions.
Okay, you've got the blue cards on your table, and Rich is collecting those cards, so if you can fill those out, we'll get your questions answered.
While you do that, I want to recognize the sponsors again. Thank you all for being here. And we have several who were not able to join us today. The U.S. Steel Great Lakes Works, the News Herald, and Sinorama are also sponsors, but were unable to be with us today. We have a few announcements. There's lots of stuff going on at the Chamber, as always. I want you to be aware that we have an after business hours. This is one people look forward to each year, and this is Margaritaville at Atria King Haven in Riverview. So that's July 28th. It's from 5:30 to 7:30. Wear your favorite Jimmy Buffett attire and plan to come and have a good time. Bring lots of business cards because there's lots of networking that goes on at the after business hours. Then that beginning in August, and can you believe we're already halfway through July and I'm talking about August, but I gotta do it as much as it hurts. So we're gonna start the month out with the Morning Spark, as we always do. That's gonna be August 5th. That's a Friday morning from 8 until 9, and it's going to be at Telegraph Chrysler on Telegraph Road in Taylor. Then on August the 9th, we have our second in our Women of Achievement series. Some of you attended the first breakfast meeting, and it was very exciting, and we really look forward to the second one. Our speaker this time is going to be Denise Brooks-Williams. She's the president and CEO of Henry Ford Wyandotte Hospital, and she's a member of our board of directors. But she was named by Crain's as one of the 100 most influential women in Michigan this year. And so I hope that you all will come and hear what she has to say. She's going to tell her personal story and tell us how she got to be one of the most influential women in Michigan. And then we've got a big time coming up on Saturday, August 20, and that's our Bacon and Beer Fest. It is going to be, we'll have a tent in our backyard, and we're going to have a lot of craft brewed beers. We're going to have a lot of bacon dishes, and some of those are going to be really interesting, so you're going to want to see that. Then we are also, and I don't know if I'm even allowed to say this, I hear that there's some issue about this, but we're going to have a bowling competition. If you don't know what bowling is, it's a combination of bowling and football, and so you're going to want to see that, you're going to want to participate in that. The next legislative forum is going to be in September on the 26th. That's going to be Meet the Candidates. We'll have all the candidates for the Michigan House of Representatives will be invited to join us on that day. So please come out, and you would be surprised. It's a lot of speakers, and you'd be surprised how much you can learn about a candidate in 5 or 6 minutes speaking to our group. We have a big event coming up in 2017, and I know we're kind of pushing it getting to next year, but this is something that you need to plan for. We're going to be taking a trip to Italy, and it's going to be a fantastic event, a fantastic trip. Kathy Belinsky is with us, and she's got information about that trip. So if you're at all interested in that, you'll want to see Kathy and speak with her. We also have a trip coming up to Hong Kong and Thailand.